my wrap-up commentary on my short take video about the Wesley Huff and Billy Carson. I hate to even call it a debate. It really wasn't a debate. I mean, you could say it was an informal debate or just an informal conversation about different interpretations of biblical scriptures, texts, manuscripts, books, so on and so forth. I haven't watched a whole debate. I'm no theologian, and religious debates really aren't my thing. I mean, I'm into knowledge overall, but getting into the particulars about the book and who I thought, of course, gave a really good spin on why what happened to Billy was Sarah Suit Seti. You gotta listen to his take on it. That's basically how I feel about it. It's like, if you're gonna debate the Bible, if you're gonna debate the Bible, you're gonna speak about the Bible, you gotta really believe in it, and kind of, especially if you're gonna debate it with a hardcore Christian like Wesley Huff, you gotta really come from a place of truly knowing it as it's written or as the religion goes, right? Which Billy has his perspective and his outtakes and his like new age spin or whatever he puts on it. And in my opinion, again, I know who Billy is. I've heard him. I've heard just about everybody out there in the quote unquote conscious community. I mean, my days of getting information from the quote unquote conscious community comes back from the days of Rainbow Soul Radio, your Delbert Blaze, of course I'm blanking out because it's late, but your what's the one that passed and nobody even know he passed? He was a daggone Sagittarius. He was one of my favorite back in the day of the scholars. But it'll come back to me. Anyway, so my indoctrination to a lot of information came like back 15, 20 years ago from the older women and men who was out here teaching, the elders. I remember Keedy Wadu. I used to have his books. He came to Baltimore, went to see his lectures. I went to see Nearly Fuller's lectures. So back in the day where the internet was here and it was a big thing, but it really kind of started from radio, and you used to have people, they still do lectures, but it really was like a thing back then to really come together and kind of get that information and hear what people were talking about. And I've been to several other lectures, but it's late and I'm having a total brain fart. But anyway, so I've heard of Billy Carson, heard some of the things he talks about, but it really don't capture me like that. Like, I have been into religion, not into it. I'm more spiritual than I am religious. So I understand things from a biblical perspective, and I also understand things from a spiritual perspective, but I really don't get too deep all into like all this. I'm in astrology. If you look at my channel, I really started this channel as a tarot astrology channel, but I don't get too deep in a lot of that stuff that Billy talks about, because to me, I really use my discernment and my intuition to tell if people are telling the truth or like where they're coming from with the things that they say. And I find, you gravitate towards what speaks to you. And a lot of the things Billy talks about just doesn't speak to me. Just because you look funny and you look like an alien don't mean you really an alien and you got all this higher knowledge. Like, it just doesn't. I'm sure he's smart. I'm sure he's intelligent. If he wasn't, I don't think he would have been making the money off of spewing some of the stuff that he does to you all. And not to say everything he says is false. It just doesn't resonate and it doesn't touch me. And then I really don't have no dog in the fight, because Wesley Huff, he's a hardcore Christian, is going to be everything Bible, and from a historically biblical perspective, which is not really my thing either. So I think my overall take on a debate, which didn't make it into my video that covers it, that's just to educate people on what happened, kind of what went down. But I think the thing that really is striking is really about people's character, right? Like, if West is out there doing anything, I mean, I never even heard of him until this debate, because I do know who Billy Carson is. There's things from the conscious community in my algorithm and all of that, or informational community, historical, videos and stuff like that. So it just came down my stream. It's not something I was looking for, and I don't think I subscribed to any of Billy's channels, and I didn't know who West Huff was. But I think character says everything, you know what I mean? And I just don't like a lot of things about Billy's character that I've heard over the years, and he really showed himself after this debate. Like, you can fool some of the people some of the time, and I really should say you can fool most of the people most of the time, but you can never fool all the people all the time. And a lot of people's downfall is their pride, or thinking they're too smart, that there's nobody else out here as smart as you. And I'm not even talking smart. Let me take that back. Thinking there's nobody else out here as wise as you, or wiser, because that kind of covers smarts when we talk about wisdom, to me. And I think he's one of those people, and he carries himself that way, that he has all this knowledge. Is this expert. He's this guru. I find people who really, just to live is to know that the more you know nothing at all. But people who really carry themselves like they know it all, they take the hardest falls because of their pride, and because they really don't understand that you can never know it all, and they really don't even conceptualize that there are people out there who know just as much as you, if not more. So when a lot of people speak to anybody with smart or wise ears, we could pick out the BS immediately. And that's just really what's happening with Billy. Again, I don't have a dog in the fight. I really don't care too much about the context of that conversation, but the things that were pulled out, inaccuracies. If that's the information you going by, no matter what I think, no matter what other truths may be out there, what other thoughts may be out there, y'all are talking about a specific topic. If your information can be disproven on that specific topic that Huff bought receipts for, it just goes to show, okay, maybe you don't know what you're talking about. What you're talking about is inaccurate or incorrect, and that's either deliberate, which is bad. And if it's not deliberate, then why not take accountability, learn something, and then come back stronger? You know what I mean? And I think the videos that Billy released and the actions that he's taken with cease and desist and all of that, it more speaks to things that he's saying, or any misinformation or inaccurate information he's given being deliberate. And that speaks to his character. And the BS videos that him and his wife put out after the fact, again, I have no dog in the fight. I could care less really what they were talking about, but I do care about character, especially from these people that make money off of people. They're selling this or selling that, or trying to give you some false hope or something that you would believe in, like on a spiritual level, right? I think that's really a negative territory to be in, and playing with people about things that you really don't know about, or you don't say that you don't know what you say you know. Just like a pastor playing with somebody's religion or spirituality. That's like the worst people who lie, right? And play around, is when you got insincere and conniving people in like a pastor or religious leader position, or spiritual leader, or some sort of guru that people look up to. Even as it spills over to like cult leaders and things like that. Anything where you have people following you and something is a belief, that is a really bad position to be in if you're misleading people, especially intentionally, even if it's not intentionally. Because you still got to pay for what you don't know in life. You could go somewhere, go to a different country, break their rules unknowingly, but that doesn't absolve you from jail time or paying the consequences. So even if you don't know, which I mean, you could tell from his personality, Billy accounts himself as way too smart and intelligent for anything he's saying really not to be deliberate. I wouldn't be such a fool to think that you don't know what you're doing. So that's just my take on the Billy Carson versus West Huff. I'm going to call it a conversation. At the most, a lightweight debate. I really wouldn't even consider that like a formal. It wasn't formal and it wasn't heavy. But I mean, Billy is truly crashing out and copping a lot of excuses. And I think it should make anybody that truly listens to him, follows him, or purchases anything him and his wife sells, take a hardcore look at that. All right. I don't want to make this too long. Madam X, Frequency or Radio, and I'm out.